Would it be? Would it be? It's your boy LB. We back. Coffee and Mary Jane. You see my hat, right? You see the hat. This is a wartime hat right here. David Pollock, this is my wartime hat. We're going to war, people. We're going to war. This is my wartime hat right here. We're going to war. You ready? Uh-huh. We're going to war. You see the topic. The greatest defense versus the greatest offense. It's time to go to war, people. We're going to war. I got my hat on. I'm ready for war. You see it. You see it. Let me pull my armor up. I'm ready for war, people. The greatest defense versus the greatest offense. Who rocking with me? It's your boy LB. We back. Sipping that coffee. We got our stick. And we're going to talk about it. As I said, these lives won't be like the ones that we're going to have on the weekends that may be a little longer. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to get in. We're going to get out. We're going to give it the 5 minutes to let some of these notifications go out. Let people know we live before we jump into it. But we're going to talk about it. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It's time to get back to Wizard. It's time to work now. Let's work. Back to the work. If you took a little break and you was eating donuts and cookies this weekend, don't even be mad at yourself. It's time to go back to work. You can work. You can take those cookies and cakes and ho-hos and little Debbie's right off of you. That's right. You can break the fast every now and then. Don't kill yourself. You ain't gotta be eating broccoli and celery every day. Some days go for that cake, that little chocolate cake, cookies. I do it. Ray Capple, salute. I do it. I have my cookie and cake days. I ain't gonna be out here just depriving myself of some of all of these good sweets out here. But you just gotta work a little harder to get them off of you. That's all. Gotta do an extra 100 push-ups. You eat a piece of cake, you put an extra 100 push-ups and sit-ups on top of the regimen to equalize that. That's the big equalizer. Okay, we had 3 minutes, close to 4. Ramadan, no, I am Buddhist. I am Buddhist. My science of life goes into Buddhism. Kevin Wheeler, what's going on, brother? We working on you. We working for you. Your books is ready. I got my computer guy that's going to fix that situation for you. He's either going to send you the DVDs or he's going to fix it because the website is on something called WordPress. It gets a little winky. It acts funny some parts of the month, but we on top of it. Corrections will be made. I just had a guy that he ordered something. He didn't get his order. He got his refund. Just to let you know, if you're watching this live, you can reorder. Some orders are missed. You know, I don't see everything. I am not God, people. I am not God. I am God, but I'm not in my godly form right now. I'm in my human form. So some things I'm going to miss. There's going to be some mistakes, people. But we are with correcting everything. That's the key to the mistakes, is will you correct them and how you correct them. I told you I got on my wartime hat. This is that wartime hat. They don't know nothing about that. All right. Let's click in the gear. 5 minutes. Let's rock in. Kevin Wheeler, all the way. Thank you, brother. Salute. You know this. Jamal, good. LA. LA, stand up. Stand up, LA. Stand up, LA. LA in the building. Let's get into this. The greatest defense versus the greatest offense. Now, I don't know if you heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again. Why 52 blocks is a must learn. Why is 52 blocks a must learn? Now, you'll hear other 52 block practitioners. They may describe their 52 blocks in a different way. I don't knock anybody. As I said before, martial arts is free expression. So how you want to express yourself is on you. But what I've gotten out of it and what has worked for me and my students is understanding 52 blocks to be what it truly is. The art of the greatest defense. The shield. Mastering the shield. Just like you master the sword. So now if we had to put these weapons against each other, which weapon would you rather have? If you had to go into war, would you rather have the greatest defense ever known or the greatest offense ever known? Because there has already been instances and examples that have proven which one to be the strongest of the two. And talking from your Uncle Burley, the strongest of the two is defense. Why is defense the strongest of the two? Because it's self-preservation, people. Self-preservation. It's you first. Even in a fight, you get into a fight, it's you first. You may want to kill your opponent, but it's you first. And what takes care of you first more than anything is your defense. Defense is what covers you first. Offense is what covers your opponent. That's him outside there. He's outward. And defense is inward. Your offense is outward. So he's outside of your in. So the first thing you have to cover before beating your opponent is your inside. That is your defense. Next thing you cover is the outside, which is the man in front of you, is your offense. Meaning, defense must be learned before offense, and this is not what's happening in a lot of these gyms, people. No, sometimes the best defense is the best defense. Sometimes. I know what you're saying. And yes, sometimes offense can be your best defense. But that's like a kamikaze. See, a kamikaze, the art of being a kamikaze, which is kill yourself to kill your opponent, is making your offense your best defense. The problem is, not a lot of the times, you die in that strategy. You die in that strategy. See, drones is the defense of kamikaze. We have built drones now, meaning there are soldiers sitting in the box killing people like an arcade game, but there are no people in the drones. See, that's a defensive mind state in the offensive capability. See, the original kamikaze, you kill yourself to kill your opponent. That's no good. That's no good. No good. He said, now if you got a parachute, yeah, you better hope the parachute opens. That's no good. So still, the best defense is the best defense. The best offense is the best offense. Now, there is room for both of them. But the reason why defense is stronger than offense is because it's you. It's in. You can't beat you. You can't go before you. Even if I tried to hit you in the head with a bat and you've never learned the skull and bones, your arms would naturally do this or something of the sort. So these blocks will jump into effect without you even, it's like breathing. You don't have to conduct your own breathing. Your body is doing it for you. Your body is doing it for you. The same thing with defense. See, now offense must be learned. You don't naturally know how to punch. You don't naturally know how to kick. You may kick your leg, but the whole technique of kicking has to be learned. Offense is outside of you. Offense has to be perfected and constantly trained, because even our fists weren't made for punching. Our legs weren't made for kicking. We weren't made for wrestling. What's happening is we evolved to do these things better. And I looked this up. Our fists were never made for punching. But what happened is, after we kept busting each other in the head, evolution has helped evolve our fists to be better punchers. That's why you only got two knuckles, really, that can support punching. Even your dog, with facts. It's better to me the ballistic missile before and its entry missile defense. Oh, you talking real stuff. You speaking the truth, LB. 52 blocks, defense, offense, a fist against the skull and bones will break. Yeah, and then the mind state of defense. See, what 52, smash that like button, even though we looking good, smash that like button. Which, more than just blocking, see, 52 is not just blocking. It's the mind state of defense. It's the mind state of, I'm protecting me. That confidence turns into other things. That confidence of I'm protecting me makes my sword swing that much sharper. See, this is where offense gets off. See, the stronger your defense, the more risky and aggressive your offense is. The more stronger your defense, the more aggressive and risky your offense is. If you got a strong defense, you're going to take some offensive risk that will help you win the war. It's just like if we're both shooting at each other and I'm behind the wall and you're in the middle of the street, I can take more offensive risk. You're in the middle of the street. I'm behind the brick wall shooting at you. Probability of life goes with me because I'm thinking defense first. So 52 blocks philosophy of defense, not just blocking, it's philosophy, the mind state it puts you in. When you're doing 52, you should feel like you can dodge raindrops. I said it. Press 1. I said it. When you're doing 52, you should feel like you can dodge raindrops. I'm about to pull down my wartime mask. Press 1 out here. Press 1. When you're doing 52, your mind state should be on, it could be raining and not near one raindrop going to touch me. Think the professor, wrench gang gang in the rhythm. So you go into a fight with that mind state that if it's raining, a raindrop can't touch you. He ain't going to be able to hit you with nothing. He ain't going to be able to hit you with nothing because you done programmed the supercomputer. That's right, swimming don't get wet. Talk about it, the predicate, the supercomputer is on the next level. So once you have that, now your gun hand is going to be so precise. It's going to be so precise. It's just like a sniper. What's a sniper's defense? Dressing up like a bush. What is a sniper's defense? Dressing up like the environment. Because he ain't got a machine gun. But you know what a sniper's defense is? Camouflage. That's why he can stay there and pick people off at will. He's camouflaged. That is his defense. That's the real. See, what offenses tell you is that you can win every fight by killing your opponent in front of you. And I'm here to tell you that is a lie. That is a lie. That's why most of these people teaching you things to do in the fight are lying to you. Why are they lying to you? Because there are way too many variables to nail down what's going to happen. But you know what you can be told? What you're going to do as far as defensively. This is what makes 52 blocks one of the top tier arts. Because I can teach you how to punch, but I can't tell you that the person that you're going to punch is going to want to play punch games with you. He may pick you up and slam you on your head. He may pull out a knife and stab you. He may pull out the gun and try to shoot you. So I can't really tell you. So most people telling you that are half lying to you. These are half lies and a little bit of truth. Because no one can call the fight. I can't call the fight. I can't tell you if he grabs you in the headlock that you can do this and this and that. Now, no, I can say that. But I can't really sell it to you or as a fact because there are too many variables that account for what can happen. But now I can teach you what you can do. You know what I'm saying? I can teach you what defense can do. Like if a guy pulls out a knife, you run. You get on your Jesse Owens, if you can. You kick dirt in his face and then kick up some dust and run. See, but they want to tell you that's not manly. That's how they sell you into these fake arts and this fake teacher. Oh, that's not manly. No, it is manly. It is manly to run. Not every fight is a fight that you should fight, especially on foreign territory. You don't know what's going to happen to you. You run and let him catch you. And when he catches you, then you give him that beast. You give him hands. You give him the hands. Because now you done run him down. He's probably out of breath. And he don't even know that you know how to fight. So he's gonna overestimate himself, and then you can take the victory. But you got to even the odds. Now, if you on your own territory, Gary Oaks, salute, you may not have to run. If I'm in my neighborhood, I can, Ulio! I hit the Ulio, my peoples is coming down. So I may not even have to run. I can just get you jumped. I could just get you jumped. He said I had a dude throw sand in my eye and literally run. That's right. That's a victory. He threw that dirt in your eye and got up out of there. Lord J-Mo. The alpha male is the most intelligent in the room, not the toughest. Facts. And let me break down the story of that. Haile Selassie, he was conquering all of the lands. But one war general did not like the fact that Haile Selassie did not look like a warrior. He didn't like it. He didn't understand that intelligence is first before the muscle. It's brain over brawn. So Haile Selassie tricked him, took his army from him, and pretty much threw him in exile. And he said, "Watch out for Haile Selassie. He walks like a lion. He walks like a mouse with the bite of a lion." Meaning intelligence, people. This is your king weapon. Your king weapon is that supercomputer that sits in fluid. That is your best weapon. How do you think we beat lions? We can't beat no lion. You see how big the lions and leopards are? But when you go to the zoo, what happens? You see lions and leopards in the cages. Why? Because we outsmarted the lions and leopards. Yeah, they're bigger than us, but they're not smarter than us. That's how they ended up in that cage for you to go pay $11 and eat some popcorn and stare at the lion while he's locked up. How you think he got locked up? Because we outsmarted them. We couldn't wrestle the lion into the cage. We don't wrestle bears into the cage. We tricked them. You know why? Because we're smarter than them. So that's your greatest weapon in any fight. Is your ability to think. And guess what gives you time to think? Defense. Offense doesn't give you too much time to think. Only the highest level of fighters can think under that type of pressure. You have to train many moons to be able to think under the pressure of someone firing on you. Most of the time, you are open to die when you go to strike another man. When you open up to strike a man, that's when he can kill you. Long as you stay in your defensive shell, it's very hard to kill you. Like if you never threw a punch and you just kind of like, it's very, very hard to kill that man. Very hard. It's when that man opens up the punch or do whatever, is that you can now be killed. See, that's what they don't tell you about offense. They don't tell you that the catch-22 of offense, which is, when you open up to take my head, I can take yours. But until then, it's very hard to kick down them doors. I got to literally pull those doors down. That's a lot of work. That's the power of defense. That's why defense must be mastered before offense. You must have a clear, I don't want to say master, but you have to be on the road of mastery of defense way before offense. You know why they do it opposite for men? Because of ego. Because most men want to kill than learn how to protect themselves. They get more of a thrill of trying to kill another man instead of the thrill of protecting yourself. See, I ain't got the thrill of killing another man. I got the thrill of protecting myself. Now by default, if you die because of that, that's on you, buddy, not me. That's on you. If you die trying to kill me, your fault. But I'm trying to tell you, I really wasn't out to kill you, just protect me. And the protection of me can go into different areas. A lot of different areas that the protection of me can go into. But at the same time, I have to work from there. If I work from a straight offensive mind state, you will lose. Why do you think Tyson Fury fighting Deontay Wilder? Why do you think it happened like that? That fight symbolized what happens when the greatest defense, Tyson Fury, of the heavyweight division, meets the greatest offense of the heavyweight division, Deontay Wilder. Who won? Defense won. Defense will always win. That's why you hear offense wins fights, defense wins championships. Press 1. Offense wins fights, defense wins championships. So if you ain't trying to learn defense, if you ain't trying to learn 52 blocks, where are you? Where are you? You got to get out your ego-like thinking, because you think every fight the man in front of you just going to lay down, and he is not. The man in front of you just don't always lay down, even though he's the one doing wrong, even though he's the aggressor, even though he's the violator. He's still not laying down for you. So what you gonna do? Don't believe just because you got a strong left hook, you win the fight. No. What happens when you get hit with that left hook, or that left hook is thrown back at you? That's going to determine who wins the fight. Because even taking the punch is a defensive thing. You got to know how to take the punch. You got to know how to sink the energy of the strike into the ground when you can do it. Because there are some punches and kicks that you just don't see. We get this. There's no absolutes. We just talking about the majority, the minority. There's no absolutes here. But the majority of the time, you can sink the shot. You can ground the shot and take away some of the punch. You can have a defensive posture. Defense just doesn't always mean blocks. A defensive posture. Chin down, elbows in. That posture alone has been one of the greatest defensive setups since the dawn of time. Chin down, elbows in. Then Antonio Tarver happened. That's right. Rolling with the punches. Yes, there are many levels of defense, not just blocking. So when you think about 52 blocks is more than just blocking when you learn it the Burley way. And Dink the Professor, he's on this chat, he can tell you. It's not about just blocking. We ain't just blocking. We got feints, clever footwork. We understand range, how to set up a false gap, interceptions. There's a whole layer to defense, more than just blocks. Blocks is kind of like the lowest level of defense. Like, can you block while moving your feet? That's a whole nother level. Can you block on the move? Can you block on the move, then come back with the counter strike? So when you think of 52 blocks, the Burley way, we thinking about defense 100%. We're not just thinking about blocking. We think about head movement, body movement, absorbing, how to absorb a punch. Because you can't get out the way of everything. Some punches you're going to have to take. If he throw 8 punches at you and you only took 2 of them and you threw off the other 6, that's high percentage. That's good stuff. That's what you want. Yeah, parries are different from blocks. Definitely. Yes, absorb. You got to learn to absorb the shot. I block, deflect, duck, slip, all that the same. You got to do everything. You can have a strong punch or a strong chin, but up against elite defense, you can't win. Bars. Hold on. Predicate up in here. You up in here rhyming. I'm going to have to say that again. You can have a strong punch or strong chin, but up against elite defense, you can't win. Press 1. Bars. We up in here rhyming. Bars. Think the Professor comes. A parry is a deflection. See, Burley's is up in here breaking it down for you. That's right. See? Because we understand defense. You got to understand defense in the 360, people. Not the 180. 360. Not 180. Blocking is the smallest level of defense. There's a lot more happening in the world of defense than blocking. As I said, blocking is the lowest level of the defense. That's the lowest level. Best defense is offense. Wrong, J-Lock. Wrong. Wrong. You're wrong, buddy. No, it's not. Because if that was the case, then Deontay Wilder would have beat Tyson Fury. Didn't happen. If that was the case, Manny Pacquiao would have beat Floyd Mayweather. Didn't happen. If that was the case, and I can go on. No, it's no such thing. The best defense is defense. Best defense, awareness is part of that. The best defense is to have a defense. A reputable defense. A defense that you have actually trained. That's the best defense. The best defense is the trained defense. That's it. That's the best defense. The best offense is the best offense. Meaning, know how to throw your offense. Offense wins fights. Defense wins championships. Offense wins fights. Defense wins championships. The fight is in your mind. This is where it all takes place first. Train your mind and your body will follow. Bang. Boom. Yes. That's a fact. That's a fact. But why you think Mike Tyson said everybody has a plan till you get punched in your face? You know why Mike Tyson said that? Because you need defense. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in your face. So how do you keep your plan? You don't get punched in your face. It's simple. What Mike Tyson was saying in that saying is have some defense. Because everybody has a plan until you get punched in your face and your plan goes out the window. What's good conditioning for forearm blocks and for your 52 block? Your elbows are pretty much strong. He said, I have that Tyson shirt. Good shirt. Your elbows are pretty strong, but you know, I've always liked using the Wing Chun dummy, you know, because that's a good wood to hit up against here, you know. The Wing Chun dummy works very well for 52 blocks. I'm going to be releasing some drills on the whole system of 52 blocks done on the Wing Chun dummy and why the Wing Chun dummy can help you. Or plan on getting punched in your face and eating them. Facts. Facts. Yeah. The best defense is not offense. Getting punched in your face is not cool. It's not a good thing. You're going to have to do it to some degree. If you're going to fight, you will be punched in your face eventually. If you keep fighting long enough, you may go a couple of fights without getting punched in your face because you may be beating up everything in front of you. But eventually, you're going to run into the one that clips you. And you better know what to do after he punches you in the face. You better not punk out. Don't punk out when you start getting hit on. You know, that's why defense is very important. Pacquiao got KO'd by Marquez because he was too offensive. Freddie Roach even told him to stop them. Yeah. And Freddie Roach helped make Manny more defensive in his footwork. Like before Freddie Roach, Manny just fired punches at you. He just tried to drown you in punches. That took him pretty far. But it's Freddie Roach that gave him all of those great angle changes, them angles, ducking under punches. You see what he did to Ricky Hatton. He caught Ricky Hatton with the right hook and ducked under his hook at the same darn time. That's defense, baby. That's the power of defense. You must have it. You must have it. It's not just have a sword in your hand. It's have a sword and a shield. I got to go to my wartime hat, so y'all know what I'm talking about. You got to have shield and sword. Come, chop, 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 chop. That's how the fight go. That's right. Defense and offense in harmony. In harmony, people. In harmony. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Defense and offense in harmony. Meaning, train your defense like you train your offense. If you wake up and you hit the bag for a half an hour, you should do a half an hour worth of work, at least an hour work of defensive work. You got to do at least, if you do a half an hour on the bag, bang, 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 hit, bang, bang, you should do an hour of defensive work. At least, minimum. See, people don't think like that because you get caught up in the ego of wanting to kill another man, and all you can think about is just your offense. I'm just going to kill this man in front of me. Not all the time you won't. Not all the time you won't. Heavy Andy, a lot of boxing this weekend. Let's talk about it. Oh, we got some boxing this weekend. You know, we want to talk about it. I got a little time left on my stick, and I'm pretty much finished my rant. Defense wins. Okay, let's talk some boxing. Let's talk about it. Who we got? Who we got? We got a lot of boxing coming up. Who we got? Let's first talk about Eudanis Ugas and Errol Spence. Now, what they've been doing to Errol Spence, what I don't like about what they've been doing to Errol Spence, and maybe this could be to sell the fight, is, you know, he's not the same fighter. He's different. The eye retina, the eye thing. This could be the sell fights. I get that. But if anybody that follows Errol Spence, one of the reasons why I follow Errol Spence is because one thing you can see is that he is the hard-working fighter. Not saying he doesn't have some talents, but he's not the man that's gifted with the extra fast hands and all of this crazy stuff. He's a workman. He's a worksman. And you always have to show love to the worksmen because they get their skills from straight work ethic and hard work and only living in the gym. GGG versus Murata is going to be good. The Japanese are looking real good in boxing too. The Japanese have stepped up their game in boxing. We got to give the Japanese, out of all of the breakout races of men in boxing, the Japanese then definitely, they breaking out. They're producing some, I don't know what's going on with the fish eggs over there, but they're producing some decent fighters now. They producing some decent fighters. But I got Errol for the win on Ugas. And I'm going to tell you why. Ugas' style is tailor-made for from Errol Spence. He can't really fight going backwards. You know, he has a good range. He has the Cuban defensive footwork, but I believe he's going to move into range. He's going to stay in the range that Errol Spence needs him. Yo, LB, GGG versus Murata, and Ryan Garcia versus a bum. Eric and Lubin versus Eric and Lubin versus Sebastian. Okay. Now, I want to go with GGG, but I got Murata versus GGG. I think GGG is just past his prime. I think his time is up. He's, a lot of, when you're a power puncher, a lot of your confidence needs to be up. His confidence ain't where it's supposed to have been lately. I'm going with Murata over him. Ryan Garcia, I'm giving Ryan Garcia the win over the bum because they're just trying to get him back in the, get his mind right. The man done lost his mind. I think, being a fighter ain't easy. You got to be mentally strong. And any type of mental weakness in you, fighting will work on. And I think they need to get that back out of Ryan. Eric and Lubin. I like Lubin. Lubin, if it wasn't for the Charlo brothers, Lubin's career would have been in a different place, but that's how life plays out. So I'm going for Lubin in that fight because I always wanted Lubin. I always seen Lubin's always been a dangerous fighter and a very good fighter. But you can't call how things happen. Yo, LB, GG versus Mariah. That's what I got on all of those fights. I got Murata over G. I got Garcia over the bum. And I got Lubin over Sebastian. I got Lubin. Then I got Errol Spence over Ugas. I definitely got Tank over Rolly. But I think Rolly fight is going to surprise a lot more people than expected. I think Rolly is going to really make that a dog fight, which is always a problem for technical fighters. The worst thing technical fighters can run into is them real strange different unorthodox fighters, like those fighters that are hard to figure out. Uh, uh, Shine Lighthouse said, I got Ugas. There you go. I hear that. I think Rolly is going to make it a way tougher fight than people are giving them credit for. I don't think Tank is just going to go in there and wipe him out. But it's going to be a good win for Tank. I think Tank is going to, he's going to like the fact that he did fight Rolly after the fight, because it's going to be a good learning lesson for him, and I think it could be a very good highlight reel knockout. He can get a highlight reel knockout. Yeah, no, he's definitely going to hit Tank. Rolly's going to get off. You know, Rolly's going to get off. Definitely, Rolly's getting off. Yeah, and we're going to see the chin of Tank, because Rolly's going to get off, and Rolly's all about the power shots. So, like I said, people are trying to make it seem like Tank is just going to like just cruise over him. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because they was talking like he was going to cruise over Isaac Pitbull, and that didn't happen either. They was talking like he was going to cruise over Isaac, and that didn't happen either. Isaac made that fight a lot more tougher than what people gave him. And I believe Rolly is going to give Tank an even tougher fight, which is good. Fighters need adversity. They need these tough fights to become better. Like, Mayweather didn't become Mayweather just fighting easy fights. Mayweather had tough fights. Yeah, I think Isaac. Who is Pitbull fighting this weekend? Who is I seen something. I seen that Isaac is fighting. Who is Isaac fighting this weekend? The Shakur Stevens. I got Shakur over Oscar. Marcus Madonna and Ricardo Mayorga were difficult fighters because of their awkwardness and craziness. So I guess they're definitely like Rolly. Yes, facts. Rolly said Tank was avoiding and wishing he was not fighting Rolly. I don't think he's wishing he's not fighting them. I don't know. Like, he's saying he gonna get these big fights without Mayweather. We gonna see. Isaac Cruz versus Gamboa. Oh man, that's gonna be a banger. See, Gamboa is the type of fight, he's still getting checks. Give it up to Gamboa. Gamboa know how to get a check right now. Now, he may be losing these fights, but he working. See, people don't understand going to work for a fighter is still going to work. Just like you got to go to work even when you got a bad day at the office. You know what I'm saying? You got a bad day, you got to give it up to Gamboa. His job is fighting, and he stays collecting, getting a check. It's hard. It's hard to get a check when you keep losing. Yeah, Gamboa is definitely a gatekeeper. It's a great job. Ain't nothing wrong with being the gatekeeper. You may tally up some losses on your record, but you're getting them checks. You're getting them. You stay working. You're working. Yes, sir. We still working with Mr. Tim Witherspoon. Facts. Yes, sir. You know, he got some other things he's doing, so we got to let the champ do what the champ do and get back to us. Gamboa said he wants the Tank rematch. I don't think we want to see that. I don't want to see Tank Gamboa again. But Gamboa can keep... There's a lot of other fighters that Gamboa can play gatekeeper to. You know what I'm saying? You know, he already did it with Devin. Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson can come up, fight Gamboa. That's another great fight for Gamboa. Gamboa get another check. Gamboa getting them checks. He's getting them checks. He's getting them checks. And Gamboa was no slouch when he was in the peak of his career. He was no slouch. Take nothing away from Gamboa. He was no slouch. But I like the fact that he could stay working, because that's the tough game to stay working in after taking losses. When you lose in the boxing, it's hard to stay working. You got to have character. Like, you got to be able to put asses in the seats even though you're not winning these fights. And then they'll still keep dealing with you. Like Mayorga. Mayorga, he know how to put asses in seats. So he may lose fights, but they still going to give him fights because people come to see Mayorga. Even what's name? Adrian Broner could do the same thing. Will Shakur hurt? I think so. I think Shakur hurts him. Yep. I think his style, because Shakur hurts you because he walks you into punches. So you do have to work. I see Shakur hurting him. Nobody should want to be a gatekeeper. Well, you know, that's coming from you, but your job is not fighting. See, it's easier for spectators to talk that talk. But when you pay bills with your hands, tell that man that. Tell that to the man that still has a family and he still got to provide for. And maybe he don't have the other investments going on. Tell it to him and see what he tell you. See? See? That's why it's not good to talk like that. That's why I don't talk like that. Because you got to be in that position talking like that. They make decent money, though. Not a bad position at all. It's definitely not a bad position. What if you love to fight? You know? It's not a bad position. It's your job. That's what I'm saying. It's your job. Yes, your job is the hurt business, and you can get hurt, but that's the warrior's creed. If your job is the warrior, your job is the warrior. You're not ready to become the farmer. Some warriors can leave the war and become farmers. Some warriors want to die in the battlefield. You know, so you can't really make that judgment on what they shouldn't do. They got to do what they feel they need. They have to do, especially if that's their job. You know, I just love the fact that the man can stay getting checks because it's hard to do that. Why it's hard to do that is because you got to understand, as a fighter, you're half fighter, half entertainer. So even someone like Adrian Broner, he can come back right now and people will go see him fight, knowing that chances are he probably not going to win, but he knows how to entertain. But fighting is a tricky thing. But, you know, when fighting is your job, it's just a tricky thing, though. So, you know, hey, but your job is your job. You got to do your work. Put that work in. Do your job. He said, because it messes up your legacy. But once again, you're just not getting it. You're just not getting it, brother. Some fighters don't care about legacy. What about the fighters that don't care about legacy? Like Mercado, like Mayorga. There's a lot of fighters that don't care about legacy. They don't care what the numbers record. They love to fight. Emmanuel Augustus, look up his record. Not a good record, but very vicious fighter, and he loved to fight. So once again, if you ain't in the position of a fighter, don't put yourself in the position of a fighter. Yes, Sean Porter decided he wanted to keep his record good, so he jumped ship. Good for him. But there are some fighters that don't care about legacy, belts, none of that. I've researched fighters all the way back to Jack Johnson, Sullivan, John L. Sullivan. There are fighters who don't care about none of that. So tell that to them. All I'm saying is don't make judgments for certain fighters. Yes, Sean Porter chose to do that because that's what he chose to do. Well, once again, you just said to you, legacy, what legacy means to you. See, it's hard. One of the hardest things is to get outside of yourself. I get that. That's why I try my best not to judge nothing. Because you can't really judge impartially because you have you in the way of the problem. So that's the hard thing about judgment. That's why I stay away from that. And I work on it to stay away from it. It's hard, but it's a job you have to do. You know, I try to look at everything is from the perspective of the person outside of myself in those situations. So just like you said, legacy means something to you, but to some people it means nothing. You know, that's why they can say one man's trash is another man's treasure, which you may think is trash. Throw it on the street, another man may come by like, hey, I was just looking for something like this. It's all perception. So perception is the problem. That's why judgment is the problem. That's why it's not good to judge, because you can only judge from your perception and your experiences. You know. See, that's the human in us. The God in us, the God in us is non-judgmental. The God in you is non-judgmental. The human in you is the judgmental one. So when you're exercising your God, you're exercising the art of not judging. And it's hard. It's hard because the human part of you wants to judge everything from what you believe to be true. Brother Bean made a whole career of being a gatekeeper. Boom, bang. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like I said, I've studied fighters from the beginning. Fighters came, the mysterious Bill Ritchie. He was at a fight. He came to see a fight. One of the fighters quit. And back in these days of boxing, they would ask any man in the audience, "Do you want to step up and fight?" And the other fighter quit. And they went to the audience. Wild kid Billy Ritchie. He rose his hand. He jumped in the fight. He knocked this dude out. Went on to become a champion. He came as a spectator and went down as a champion. That's why, the God in you must must contain the human in you to not be judgmental. Charlie Burley, the man, Sugar Ray's man, just said to avoid at all costs. Mr. Rhythm, this is a fact. Matter of fact, what's the name? His trainer said you can invite Charlie Burley to dinner, but don't invite him to a fight. I think his name was Gainford. Gainford was the name of his trainer. Burley beat the devil out of Archie Moore. Yes, indeed. Archie Moore was another one that said, avoid Charlie Burley at all costs. You got to understand, Charlie Burley was 154 pounds, beating up light heavyweights. Archie Moore went on to be a heavyweight. Charles Ezzard, he fought Charles Ezzard. Now, Charles Ezzard is the one that gave him some problem. I hear you, and I was not judging the man. I just gave a perspective from one angle, and you gave a perspective for another man's angle. So neither one of us is at fault. No, there's no fault. I didn't give nobody's. I'm not giving nobody's perspective. There's no fault. There's no fault. I'm just saying that you said you had a definite thing of saying you don't want to be a bad gatekeeper. I'm not. I didn't say that. You the one that, your definition, your statement was more definitive mine's. That's where it came from. So I'm not saying it's bad to be a gatekeeper or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying a man, that's their job, and gatekeepers are not always looked upon. So that's my stance. My stance is a general stance of non-judgmental of anybody. You be a gatekeeper, you don't be a gatekeeper. You watch your legacy, you don't watch your legacy. I stand for both sides. I'm right in the middle. It's called the Tai Chi middle. I'm right in the middle. So, of course, there's definitely no fault. No fault. His power was deceptive. Yo, LB Lubin is really fighting a 6'6" or 6'7" fight on Saturday to contend. Yeah, I love Lubin, though. I love Lubin's technical prowess. I think the Charlo fight was not a fluke. I can't say it was a fluke because he threw a real punch. But I just think Lubin, he fell asleep. He learned about falling asleep. Like, he took his mind off of it, and that's all it takes. I'm going to look him up. Yeah, look up the mysterious Bill Ritchie, the Cincinnati Cobra. Yeah, but Charlie Burley was fighting light heavyweights and giving them problems. Even the only fight that we have of him fighting Billy Oakland Smith, look how big Billy Oakland Smith was. Going to watch Billy Smith versus Charlie Burley in the middle. Oh, you about to buy song? That's the only fight you can watch is Billy Oakland Smith, and it's a great fight. I've seen it like 3,000 times. I love that fight. I can't get enough of it. Can't get enough of that fight. One of the greatest fights ever. Yeah, you can learn so much from that fight. Charlie Burley was a master at range. Every time I see this, I am anywhere. I'm gonna do more damage. If I see you, there will be no peace. I think I just broke. I messed that up. Burley style, was that you call Burley style? Would you call that the perfect boxer? I wouldn't say the perfect boxer. Yeah, I wouldn't say the perfect boxer. He was a master at range. Like, if you want to understand a master of range, Charlie Burley. I wouldn't say the perfect boxer. I would say the perfect boxer would have to be none other than Sugar Ray Robinson. If we're going to talk about the perfect boxer, it would have to be Sugar Ray Robinson. Have to be. Have to be. You know. But talk about a range master, that's Charlie Burley. Kurt Burley, could you KO a 6'4", 300-pound sumo wrestler if you couldn't run? How would you survive that situation? Oh, that's a tough situation. That's a tough situation, because chances are it would be very hard very hard. Not that the chin, you can put enough pressure on any man's chin and put him to sleep. It's about, do you get that right punch off under pressure? That's the question. And that's very hard with a sumo wrestler bearing down on you, grabbing you. How would I fight a man that big? Me fighting a man that big, I would put it all on stamina. We have a saying in boxing, which take a man out the deep waters and drown him later. I would take him in the deep waters. Everything I would do would be to kind of like stay away from him and work on his exhaustion. You know, that's the only thing. And pray that I can stay alive long enough to see him get tired. That's all you can really do. That's all you can really do. Because weight matters, people. Weight matters. There's a reason why the leopard is strong. You know, the leopard can carry animals twice his size up a tree with neck muscles, holding it. A leopard can do this. But a leopard can do nothing against the lion. Because the lion has just superior weight. So there's a time when weight matters. Weight definitely matters. So if you can't run the big thing down and give yourself some time to work on the stamina, chances are it's probably going to kill you. Like, they asked Mike Tyson, could you beat Bruce Lee? And he was like, what type? You know, of course he could beat Bruce Lee. And they couldn't believe it. They said, even with him kicking, he said, man, listen, me fighting Bruce Lee is like me fighting Mayweather in the street fight right now. Like, he's not going to win. Weight matters, especially when the bigger man is a fighter too. Especially when the bigger man is a warrior. Do you think Michael Jaleel White would beat Bruce Lee because of size difference? Yeah. What Michael Jaleel White said wasn't wrong. Urban Rock Media, where he did wrong is not understanding the court of public opinion. See, the court of public opinion is real. Like, we have some court. We have the courts that work the judicial process, and then we have the court of public opinion. What Michael Jai White went against was the court of public opinion. See, in the court of public opinion, it's really ran by emotions over facts. It's emotions over facts. So emotionally, people want to believe that Bruce Lee can beat Michael Jaleel White, who's almost 200 pounds, and he probably wouldn't. There are some situations where Bruce Lee would win, but let's say if that fight played out 10 times, I would believe Michael Jaleel White to beat Bruce Lee 7 out of 10 times. Maybe 8. Maybe even 9. Maybe Bruce Lee only pulls out one good victory out of those 10 fights. You know, if we put it over a span of like where we could really judge it. Come on now. Michael Jaleel White beats Bruce Lee, yes. Michael Jaleel White is a phony, though. He's a bodybuilder / actor, not actual karate. Van Damme. Well, Michael Jaleel, like, listen here. I don't really like Michael Jai White too much, but I wouldn't call him a phony. And see, this is the thing we were just speaking about, being judgmental. Like, I don't like Michael Jai White. I met the brother and he said some bad things about 52. But will I take away his credit as a fighter? No, you cannot. You cannot. You can't call him a phony, because he was really in tournaments kicking people's heads off when he was like 14, 15 years old. He was kicking heads off. He was making the news. He really trains these things. He's no phony. Martial arts is free expression, so no one can be a phony if they're really training. Bruce Lee and Michael White need a record. They need proved. Yeah, and that's another thing. Bruce Lee didn't even have a record. Michael Jai White had more fights than Bruce Lee. Recorded fights. Like, you can actually go back and see Michael Jai White's fights. At 15, he was beating grown men. Like, this is what he was beating grown men at 15. I seen the tapes. You can go see these. Kicking men's heads off with spin around technical kicks. Not wild style stuff. Not the wild style. Real. Kicking people's heads off. Nice. Execution. Videotape fights. Won championships. Holding the trophy. Stuff that we've never seen Bruce Lee do. But public opinion, as I talked about, the court of public opinion will give Bruce Lee wins over emotions. There's only one fight of Bruce Lee that we've all seen. Everything else has been talked about. Like, every fight I've heard about Bruce Lee has been talked about. What we need to give Bruce Lee his flowers on was he was a biomechanic expert. Like, Bruce Lee was the one that started drinking raw eggs. He was on that. He was on, like, treat your temple like a boss. Bruce Lee was on that, like, love your body. That's what we need to give Bruce Lee credit for. The execution of loving your body. But he was no fighter. He was no MMA fighter. I guarantee if Bruce Lee was alive during an MMA time, he would have got his ass, he would have got beat up. He would have got grounded and pounded. Unless he was putting in that work. The one thing I would have gave Bruce Lee was his work ethic. He definitely believed in work. So if he would have had that same work ethic, electric shock therapy, he started that too. If he would have if he would have kept that same work ethic and trained well, he could have probably been, he probably did well. Yeah, I thought the same thing of black culture and heritage. I thought Michael Jai White would have liked 52 too, but he didn't. He said some real disparaging words, and there was this brother that was with me. He seen my face. I didn't like it at all. I gotta disagree. Bruce could get down. I'm not going against you, brother. Love you, support you for being on the chat. But how could you make that statement without seeing him fight? The only, none of us have, this is why we gotta, it's emotion, it's facts over feelings, people. I love Bruce Lee, what he's done. But facts over feelings. We cannot say Bruce Lee could get down because we've seen him in movies. We got to get a hold of ourselves, people. We got to get our hold of ourselves. We got to get a hold. Maybe he is Oreo. Well, I heard I don't know. All I'm saying is I didn't like how he disrespected. Yeah, we can't call somebody a fighter that we haven't seen none of his fights. I'd love to see you two spar one time and prove him wrong. Well, who? Me and Bruce Lee? Or me and Michael Jai White? See, me and Michael Jai White can get that business. The only thing about it is he is way bigger than me. He does have the weight over me. He does have the weight over me. But I definitely have the spar time of hours in. So I'm with the ish. Yeah, the speed advantage definitely relies with Mr. Burley. Yes, facts. And I think I'm smarter. I think my IQ of setting men and setting traps up. I just think I'm smarter. I seen some of his kickboxing matches. With them legs, he can do work. But I think I'm smarter than the people he was fighting. I'm not saying I'm clearly getting the victory. I'm just saying we can move. We can shake. But we don't know how MJ Watt now, he's 15, compete in the kind anymore. Yeah, but he's training. He's training. Anybody that's fought and trained, you can't really take that away from them. I wonder what Bruce Lee would have thought about 52 block. I think he would have loved it. He would have loved the defensive aspect of it and where it stood for the strength of self-preservation. I think he would have loved that. The size difference is the reason Michael J. said he wouldn't show a movie with Wesley Snipes. I don't know why he wouldn't want to do a movie with Wesley Snipes. You should. Oh well, not street beef. Street beefs is too barbaric for us. But I'm not respectfully. But you got to have good kick defense if you fight Mike Jawed. You must. There's his legs. His legs are way better than his hands. I've seen some of his punching. He punches like a karate dude. So yeah, I would think that a lot of his danger is in his legs. So you definitely gonna have to understand how to deal with kicks. Snipe was a killer. He has some clean capoeira and play. Yes, he did. They do boxing rules too, but they don't do boxing, sir. No, they don't do boxing. No, kickboxers don't do boxing. They're good at kicking though, and they're fake punching. They're not punchers. Hell yeah, I think you're high in the little leg techniques too, though. I'm not going to even speak on that. If people think that I'm just a puncher, they'll find out. What is there a video of Michael J. White talking bad about? No, what it is there was a martial art. It was a martial art. What do you call these things? It wasn't a tournament. It was like a martial art. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna say extra. A martial art. What's the word, people? It's not a tournament, but all martial arts are there. They're selling their books. Because I'm smoking, I can't think of the word, but. Convention. There you go, Izzy. Thank you, Izzy. That's why I love you, Izzy. It was a martial art convention. Michael J. White was there. Like Burley was there. I see Michael J. White's table. This is a 52 block story. I should have classified that as a 52 block story. So, 52 block story, Light Burley meets Michael J. White. Y'all done talked it out of me. So I go to this martial art convention. I do believe it was in Atlantic City. A lot of good martial artists there. I got the word that Michael J. White is going to be at the convention. He has a table. I'm over there with my homie. I see Michael J. White. He sees me. I walk over to the table. I say, hey, what's going on, Mike? Love all this stuff you're doing. Love everything you're doing for black men in martial arts. These are my direct words. He says, thank you. And I said, I am one of the practitioners of 52 blocks. I would love to get, your cosign or your thoughts on it. And he looked up and said, 52 blocks is good for movies, but would never work in a real fight. I looked at the guy that was with me. I was very upset. And I looked at him and I said, maybe your version of the 52 you've seen wouldn't work in the fight. And that was the end of our display. Me very upset. I walked away from his table and I've been disliking them ever since. That is the story of how Light Burley met Mike J. White. I think you got street beefs wrong, bro. It's backyard fights, boxing matches, MMA matches. Nah, but they're all low-level stuff. Street beefs is all low-level stuff. No, respectfully. They're for low-level fighters that want to swing and look crazy. And there's nothing wrong for that. There's an audience. And you know why street beefs wins? Because it looks crazy. And that's what the crowd wants to see. The crowd doesn't want to see too much technical stuff. It's just what it is. But I don't doubt those, I don't knock those brothers. Even in New York, they had Bronx boxing. I think that's what it was called, Bronx boxing. They was one of the first ones to do that. And it was all about just terrible fighters swinging at each other. And there's a crowd for that. There's a crowd for that. Just not us. AC is a place where bad energy gathers. That was the first sign, Coach. Jersey is a spooky place. But I said, You know, I like what the street beefs are doing for the young guys. They get out there, they swing at each other, look crazy, you know, swinging, fighting, tussling, it's good stuff. It's rugged. But those brothers there, if they ever stepped in the ring with the MMA fighters that I train with, they will get eaten alive. They will be eating. The MMA guys that I'm working with would destroy everything that came out of street beefs. Eat them like wolves at the slaughter. At the slaughter. So, there's just a place for it. As Jerron Boots Ennis said when Blair Cobb ran up on him, there's levels to this. And I'm just not wanting to be seen on that level, even though I don't knock that level. Yo, Sensei Mo did a video back in the day with one of the Gracie brothers co-signed the 52 blocks. Yeah, Sensei Mo, we respect Sensei Mo. He represents 52 a lot. Salute to Sensei Mo. Yo, LB, do you remember that Kimbo Slice backyard fighting movement in the 2000s? Yes, and Kimbo was killing it. LB versus Michael John White. Set it up. Facts. Get the sparring match out there. I'm with that. He kicks, I kick. He's definitely probably a way better kicker than me, but I know I'm a way better puncher than him, so we're going to have to equalize it. Did you ever meet Kimbo, Coach? No, I never got a chance. I wish I would have. I think if he would have stayed alive, I would have definitely eventually met Mr. Kimbo Slice. Definitely. Much love to Kimbo. True warrior there. True warrior. Well, let me check my time. Yes. All righty. We're going to finish up this stick, and then we're going to finish up this live. So any questions? Taking all questions, whatever questions you got. I've seen Tim Witherspoon hold you down in certain comment sections. Yes. Come on. When the champ holds you down, come on now. You know you're doing something right when the champ got your back. This man fought against the great Larry Holmes. So when the champ holds you down, you know you're doing good things. Champ definitely held me down. Love to the champ. Salute to the champ. Misty Knight, the first 52 blocks video episode was LB Does Kimbo Know 52. That was the first video ever put out on 52 blocks. Done by your boy LB. First video ever put out on 52 blocks was Mr. LB. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me on this chat. What type of fight do you watch the most? Boxing. I watch MMA though, but I watch more boxing than anything. But I watch MMA, watch wrestling matches. But out the three of wrestling, kicking, and punching, I've watched more boxing, I would say. Yeah, for sure. But I watch a good mix of all three, but definitely more boxing than anything. I love boxing, Triangle Trade, salute, Lord J-Mo. You already know, I'll be back tomorrow with another live. We're keeping the lives going. So as always, hands up, chin down, rumble.